In this, episode 1 of the TomEE REST React video series, we're going to focus on a very simple goal, and that is a TomEE application that serves JSON. That's it. We're not going to get into the React hotness for right now, that's for later. So, all we need is a project that has a REST service, and the Apache TomEE project delivers. Go to tomee.apache.org, then click on Examples, and you'll see that TomEE has a treasure trove of examples, from session beans to EJBs to data sources to frameworks. You want it, you've got it. So click on Simple REST. This is the example that we want to copy and modify. And if you look at the Simple REST example, it is just that. It's simple. There's a simple greeting service at a certain path. You send a GET request to it, it returns text. That I'm not interested in. I'm interested in JSON. So let's copy it and modify it. I've done so. If you go to the TomEE Tribe GitHub account, it's under github.com/TomEETribe/rest-example. Clone this repository, and then you'll have the example on your local workstation so you can play around with it. So here's the git clone command right here. Once you clone it, import it into an IDE. I've imported it right here into IntelliJ IDEA 12. The greeting service class has been annotated to produce JSON. It returns an object greeting. That object is annotated with JAXB annotations, which influence how it is serialized into JSON. We have an application config class here, which simply sets the path, and then also tells the application what classes to scan. We have a little bit of extra configuration in OpenEJB-jar. Here we set the property cxf-jaxrs-providers equal to JSON, and then in resources, we point the ID JSON to this Jackson JSON provider. This works in Tomcat 1.6.0. And if we look at the pom.xml, you can see that I've configured the TomEE Maven plugin for version 1.6.0, and I've configured it with a TomEE classifier of plus and the TomEE version of 1.6.0. So at this point, 1.6.0 is up for a release vote, so I have to add a little extra repository here, but by the time you watch this video, you won't have to add that extra repository. This will be published on Central. So that is it for the POM configurations and the code. Let's run it. I have a configuration here called unnamed, which I'll name right now. This is run example. And here you can see that it runs maven package tomee:run. Let's click on apply. Okay. Now that we're properly configured to serve JSON, let's start the application. So I'm going to click on play, and this is going to run the Maven build. So this isn't the first time that we've run the Maven build. If it were, it would take a lot longer because it has to download plugins and artifacts. But because we've already run it, it very quickly starts up TomEE. So the server startup started in 1.3 seconds. And at this point, what we're trying to do is just a test of this get URL to see if it returns JSON. So here I'm going to go back to Chrome, and I'm going to go to an empty window and just type in that simple URL, and you can see the response that I get back is JSON. Now this isn't a huge example, right? No one's standing up and applauding this as something novel, but it's the first step. It's the first step towards creating a system that runs on TomEE that supplies JSON to a React app.